Right, so hopefully this goes live and people get a notification, because as I said, I wasn't sure if it would actually let me do this today, because with all the strikes, there's all the stuff about, like, if you get a certain amount of strikes, you can't stream for a week, and you can't stream for a month and all that. But I think as this is the warning one, it doesn't actually do anything, as far as I'm aware. But as said, it was literally over an old video game video. And as I said, there's no real way to appeal it, because I did think about doing that, but I just essentially didn't have the option. But anyway, I've already explained that in the other video, so we won't go into that too much today. Hello, everybody that's joining. Something cool, don't know if you can see that there. I can't actually generate X-rays from that. I said none of my power supplies are beefy enough. But what you can see here is the actual filament in there glowing really bright orange. And this is still, running only at like a lot less than what it should be running at. Yeah, there you go. So if you're interested, that's essentially just being a giant light bulb. And that's pulling 5.16 amps at the moment. I think this is meant to run between about 10 and 15 amps, but obviously I've not got a power supply beefy enough for that. Yeah, so it seems with this X-ray tube, if you actually wanted to power it properly to produce X-rays, you need about 15 amps going into the filament and about 110 kilovolts actually running through the thing to produce X-rays. So yeah, you're not going to do that in your house easily, despite what people have said. But anyway. Yeah, already fuzzy. The ones I ended up buying ones that were even cheaper than some of the ones people suggested, because I managed, there was some that were on like one of those daily offers on Amazon. And it was a set of wall clippers. I've had plug-in wall ones before, and they lasted just about a year before they just stopped turning on, basically. But what was good in them is this one, I think, was about £13 for the set. So, yeah, if you figure what does it cost to get a haircut now, even if it's just shaving all your hair off, probably what, 10 quid to 15 quid, I'd imagine. Plus the risk of getting corona if you could even go out and get one. So, yeah, they've already paid for themselves on just one cut. That sounds good, Rich. Yeah, just about 8 PM, Mike. Yeah, hello, everybody. Sorry if I haven't said hello to everybody. I was just obviously talking about that tube then. No, it's not that insulted. It's literally you need to buy massive power supplies. Like your wall sockets do not give you that much electricity. That's annoying John's life, but I suppose it's good if you've got a job, isn't it? But yeah, and yeah, that's the thing, Jawaki. It's literally, yeah, I won't leave it on for long, because like we said, it's pulling. I'll have to set the smart meter up and see how much it reckons that's pulling, but yeah. 5 amps of so it's only putting 2.2 volts into that, but it's putting about 5 amps into it. Let's just flick that off. But yeah, to actually power those, you need to buy like the massive, almost like ham radio sort of, like variable wattage output things, which are expensive if you want a good one. And then you need to buy an absolutely massive power supply for them. No, I'm Alpha, you can't. Like I've already said, I think I said in the video, you basically had two options. You could appeal the strike, potentially make it worse, or have your account held under that review thing for months and months and months if nobody looks at it. Or you could do what I do, which basically said, I know this is bullshit, but I'll accept the strike and I'll just start deleting loads of old videos and hope that no more get struck. Because I've heard other people like appealing it and just not getting anywhere, and then it comes out worse for them. That is not a nuclear reactor, it's an X-ray tube. I guess you don't know how a nuclear reactor works. Which particular person, Brightle? But there's loads of people now saying, like, are they on the ban list? And their names aren't on there. It's just YouTube is censoring more and more stuff, I would imagine. Ah, so that's interesting, Rich. How many watts? So I don't know the equation, but yeah, you'd need a lot, wouldn't you? That's the thing. Like, I don't think that a tube of that size you could actually power properly on a home supply. Well, here's the thing, Dan. Like I've said to people, I don't mind backing up my videos on other platforms. There's no point doing it on YouTube, because YouTube just deletes everything you do if they terminate you. But the problem is there are no good alternatives to YouTube as far as I'm aware. Like, people have been suggesting them, but every time I've looked into them, and I think Mike would probably agree with me over the history of doing this, that's Weapon Collector. If a good one comes along, generally they don't last very long. So you might back up loads of your videos on there, and then all of a sudden you find, like, you know, a year later that the website's down because they couldn't pay for the server hosting. So wattage is amps times voltage. Okay. Well, I'm not going to do all the you know, I'm not going to do all the equations now for it, but yeah, if something literally requires 110 kilovolts running at something like 15 amps, yes, it's going to be pulling a hell of a lot. Yeah, this is the thing, Stuart. What I reckon it is on Facebook here and everywhere else. I mean, sometimes it is people reporting it, but as much as I've had to deal with a lot of trolls before, I don't reckon it's that. I reckon it's where they've got a really oversensitive algorithm that's just picking up more and more stuff. But like I was saying, Mike, I would definitely back my stuff up to several websites, you know, if I could. But the problem is that, like we were saying, you know, because people keep coming up with different ones every like few months when somebody suggests one, and they're never around, because it was like Parler a while ago, wasn't it? And that's shut down now because Amazon pulled the things after all the you know, Trump fanboys stormed the Capitol building. Which message, Brighto? Again, it's hard to know which message because sometimes you can see messages like that, but your other messages I can't. Yeah, this is the problem, Rich. Like I've said to people, if I want to stream on other sites at any point, I can do that on Twitch. That's not a problem. But it's just more the issue. YouTube is like one of the only sites I can think of where you can upload as many videos as you want, you know. And that's the good point, isn't it, over Underthinker, that again, yeah, it takes a lot of time to back your stuff up to other platforms unless they just let you copy stuff over. I'm pretty sure the term watts and megawatts are a bit older than nuclear reactors. You know, I'm sure you could still output megawatts, couldn't you, with a massive coal plant? Yeah, you've already said, Joshua. I don't really think so. All right, Peach. Yeah, so here's the thing, Mars and Preps. This is why I find it interesting that I got flagged for hate speech. Recently, I've been like telling all the Nazis to really fuck off that come on these videos. You know, like completely saying I have no problem with people, you know, whatsoever, different things, and they still strike you for hate speech on something that's not related to hate speech. It's kind of like, yeah, I think your algorithm's not quite right there. You'd hope so, Dwarven Miner. This is the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, John Slifer. I think politicians need to be kept into account, but you don't want a country, do you, run by violence on either end? You know, like violence against the citizens or like terrorism against the politicians. You just want things where people respect each other. No, you asked me to check that person before, Brightle. They're not on the list. I looked. So it's just YouTube has decided they can't post comments on my videos that show up anymore. You know, but like I said, there's loads of people that used to watch these channels where, like, they'll come on a second account and they'll say, can you check the list if I was on there? And they're like people that never cause problems. I check the list, they're not on there, but YouTube is just hiding their comments. Well, as I was saying earlier, yeah, because here's an interesting test for this, right? Look up old World War II documentaries, and you'll notice there's a lot less on there, and I don't think it's copyright that they're being removed. Well, I don't own one of the S6 copies, the ones they did in grey, but I know there's a few other collectors that have got them. Have you used a rubber preservative on it, KV1? But you want to get rubber preservatives like silicone lubricant if you've got a few masks, because that is good for keeping them in good condition. Yeah, it depends, doesn't it, over Underthinker? Because in a lot of places, when the government start getting afraid of the people, that's when they just crack down massively. Right, Tyre? But yeah, like I was saying, if people didn't hear, I'm not going to be streaming any games for ages now, just because I'm really kind of doubting how much the video game sort of, you know, bot type thing on YouTube can actually understand the context of a game. You know, like it wouldn't surprise me at some point if it thinks you're committing real world violence because you're running around in the game. Oh yeah, there's some old videos I've deleted because of this, but I'll be refilming them, and I'll be making sure if I talk about stuff, the first thing I say in the video, in case I have to appeal it at any point, is, you know, like, I do not endorse anything this country did in certain war or whatever, but let's have a look at a bit of their equipment, kind of thing. Because the problem is, I reckon as well, if you appealed a long video, I don't reckon the person would watch all of it. You know, there's loads of things like that, you know what I mean? Because I had not a strike before, but I had like a warning sent to me through like YouTube and Gmail that one of the Fallout New Vegas streams I did was like potentially graphic content or something, and like people couldn't see it unless they were 18, you know. Well, as I said, Drunk Russian, it's not even a person that's done it, it's a bot. It's because they don't have enough staff to look through videos, you know. So what they do is, because this happened years ago with YouTube, right? What ended up happening was loads and loads of really like violent content was getting posted on YouTube. They did nothing about it. Like more and more people were reporting it. They did nothing about it. Then loads of newspapers started saying like, look at all this content on YouTube. It made Google really embarrassed. And then they made, you know, like the adpocalypse happen where they just got bots to kind of like shut down anything related to it at all. And I think it's like that again, where they're just being like super banhammery on like anything that could be slightly sensitive. Yeah, but Mike, the same thing like it's Bright I was saying about, it's happened with Coco Stewart, who posts a lot. He was on the streams the other day with his alt account, and spent ages looking through the block list in case just a mod had put him on by mistake. He's not on there. He just can't post on my channel anymore. Yeah, well, they're going to Skynet everybody eventually. Well, Master Preps, we've been over this. Well, not receive you. I'm not going to go at you, but I'm saying this has been like mentioned loads and loads and loads of times. It's literally the thing of two wrongs don't make a right, but you know these bots clearly don't work very well. So it's kind of, you know, like punish people who haven't done anything wrong. Of course, it will catch some legit videos or whatever thing you're looking for, but essentially nuke a load of content. You don't always hit your targets. Yeah, and that's the thing, Dwarven Miner, exactly. That's why I think in certain videos now, if I do them at the start, I am literally going to be like, if it's anything of World War II history, I'll just put a statement at the beginning saying how much I think the Nazis were despicable, you know. Just because, you know, there'll literally be stuff now where it's like, oh, I reckon you're a pro-Nazi because you've got a shaved head. That means you are neo-Nazi. You know, like that sort of stuff. It's that kind of level of intelligence. But like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. Like people are saying, it'd be a more just world if I could appeal it, but literally nothing I can do about it other than the fact that hope nothing happens in, you know, the next 3 months. All right, David, I'm glad I helped you. Like I said, I hope I don't get purged off this platform and can't help people with any sort of advice related to that stuff anymore. Yeah, it's just to me, it's really strange. It's like that video of any video. But like I was saying in that video earlier, from a lot of like searching around the internet I did regarding this yesterday, it seems a lot of video game content can get flagged just where the bot does not understand the context. Like it maybe can understand it's a video game, but maybe there's other factors like it counts violence. If it's like a World War II game, it might count, you know, the fact that Germany is in the game. But like we were saying, there's loads of documentaries that have been deleted off of YouTube now. And I bet it's because the bot can't understand that, like, something talking about the horrors of the Holocaust, for example, you know, it might think that's like pro-hate content because a bot can't really understand context. All right, the person who keeps making weird, threatening comments, I'm getting rid of. But as a lot of you know, I've had the police, like, essentially tried to swap me before. Not the police tried to swap me, but, you know, a very sad individual made a false police report against me. A cop came over here, was very polite, like, you know, realised very quickly his time was being wasted. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Ty. In actual court cases, it might matter. The problem is, you know, lots of this stuff online, you're guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around. Oh, Flazzy, it's the problem doing a public stream, isn't it? I've already got slow mode set to 30 seconds, but as soon as you do a public stream, you get people on I've never seen before and like comments and that come on and just start spouting random stuff. Get what thing username? I'm not selling a full hazmat suit. I'm not selling a full hazmat suit. That's not me. So I don't know why you're saying you're selling a full hazmat suit. If you said other people are, then yes, other people could be, but I'm not. People do sometimes literally screenshot my videos though and use them on eBay listings, but I don't really care at this point because, you know, in a sense, if people sell more surplus that way, that's good. And, you know, maybe people will find my channel through that, but, you know, I don't endorse a lot of sellers if they're using my things, but it's too long a process to try and go through like a DMCA type thing because somebody literally probably searched Google for the name of the thing and grabbed a load of pictures. I don't. Oh, I might have to have a look into taking that down username then. But yeah, the eBay account I have does not have my channel name in it. So if somebody's doing that, that could potentially be something you have to sue somebody over. But yeah, like I said, I get all the impersonation bollocks anyway. And again, I bet sites are slower taking those down if I make a formal complaint against them than they are at just nuking random videos. Yes, Brightor, yes I am. It doesn't randomly happen every day. No, because literally the thing is, Mr. Walnuts, all the things like I've said like that are true. So, you know, nothing's happened to me since like that. So I'm not going to randomly say, you know, this cool ghost thing happened because nothing like that's happened since. And with Corona, obviously, there's no ghosts around here, you know. But yeah, over under think it's just stuff like that. And I think that's the same thing with music. Like, in a lot of documentaries, you'll have music, say, for example, that were like, you know, propaganda bits of music from the Soviets and the Germans, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And I think what you end up having happen is they just probably have like bits of music that are on like a banned list. So, for example, for like far right content, they might have loads and loads of like Nazi music, let's say, on there, right? But what ends up happening is it can't tell, obviously, in a documentary if it's just showing like it might say like, you know, Hitler is building up his forces, and it has like, you know, the SS marching along with the Konnegrats are playing, let's say. But then literally the system just thinks that is like somebody like saying this is my musical tribute to the Third Reich. Music I've been listening to lately, the Terminator soundtrack. I really like the soundtrack to Blasphemous, which I started playing recently. Depends on the law of your country. I mean, if it's literally stuff that's abandoned in a building being left to rot, and it's not private property, as in you haven't broken in to get in there, I really can't see an issue morally with it. But that doesn't mean that, you know, it might still be theft under the law of the country, and I'm not going to condone people doing anything like that. Who's Brandon Herrera? I'll search him. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. But I know loads of YouTubers have had this sort of problem. The thing is, if you're a big enough channel, it will always generally be reversed. And the thing is, the sad thing is, I've got like 95k subs or whatever it is, I'm a lot better off than somebody with like 10k subs. This is the thing. You know, the more subscribers you have, and essentially the more money you make for YouTube, in a way, the more likely that you are to not get screwed over by their system. But you know, there's a thing in their terms and conditions now, right? Where if, for example, what's the way of saying it? They literally say in part of the terms and conditions, they updated it saying like, if you're not a monetized channel and you don't make them enough money, they can just delete you at any point. Oh, Hyra, that's what I literally said earlier. That's what I think is the case, but there's no way of proving that, is there? Because they don't tell you. It's literally, this video is hate speech. So, yeah, thanks, Rich. So, like I've said, I've just literally deleted anything that might have anything sounding like that in it. You click the button below that says join the members thing. Haven't you asked that before, Max? Can a nuclear war happen? Yes, the answer is it can. But let's hope it doesn't. But, could the sun explode? Yes. Well, I know, Jog, but this is the thing. A bot doesn't know that, does it? And it's just somebody compiling a list of, things for a bot to search for in any context. Don't really look really different. No, I've not, but that wouldn't surprise me, Nathan. Again, this is the thing. The problem, like we've been saying, is a lot of the time bots do not understand context. Like, they can be a very useful tool, but, a bot does not understand context like a human does, And it'd be awful with humor. Then that would be like the worst thing, because humor is really subjective even to people, right? And that's where a bot has no chance. But it's just like simply the fact that it seems like, bots will strike anything if it has anything to do with a controversial issue. Yeah, it sounds crazy, Max. If it's somebody linking me in a listing description, that's fine. Like, they're saying, check out this channel. But what I'm saying is, if you said, like, the eBay account was called Weapons and Stuff 93, then that's a fraudster. I'll get round to it at some point, Brighto. At the moment, I just literally keep forgetting to do stuff like that. And I've got loads of content now I need to redo, because I've had to take it down just in case anything in it, set anything off. Yeah, but then they'd have to pay out money, wouldn't they, Tanner? What are you on about, Joshua? It wasn't even a World War II game. This is the thing. I've had lung X-rays before. Thank you, Tyre. And yeah, you've hidden him. Thank you. I was going to do that, but sometimes it's a bit difficult if you're reading a comment. But if you mean lung scan like X-rays before, yes. And are you asking, like, is there like asbestos in my lungs? No. Well, that's true, Electric Explorer. But this is the thing, like we've said before. But having less staff is not good compared to having more staff. You need ideally a lot of staff and bots. But like we've said before, that's not as economic as just having a bot that nukes everything. Mention the name of the eBay sellers, and then they'll see if it's ones that, like, I've given the okay to. But as I said, there's nothing I can really do about it, because, like I said, you'd have to keep constantly contacting eBay every time they put up a listing. And like I said, there are some people that have sent me stuff before, like, B-Store and things like that, where I've literally, had a good relationship of basically saying, here's an eBay store that sent me this for free. I'm going to do a review on it. And, at their end, they're allowed to, how many gas masks do I have? Well, I've sold some now and given some away, so it's less than 150. The red filter drunk Russian is the safe one. Then it's fine username. As I said, he's allowed to do it, or she's allowed to do it. You know what I mean? It like I've said, though it's more if somebody's impersonating me. There's a bit of a difference though. I've given quite a few away. Like, I've given one of my S10s away. There's a load of like older masks that still worked I've given away. But remember, if you didn't follow me, right when the Corona stuff started, I gave people I knew who were vulnerable masks. Because what's the point in me having them if it might save somebody's life? I find them sort of interesting, WTIS, if it's never something I'd spend money on. Like, I think they're nice to watch videos on sometimes, but it's not something where I'd want to spend more money than what a modern car costs on something that runs less efficiently. Oh, this, Tanner, is where you see all this like legal challenge stuff Jorg Sprav's doing against YouTube now, because in several countries they're actually breaking, like domestic laws on how content's regulated. Well, I've got literally my CT12 and FM12 always set up, so I can just chuck them on and go. There's only one left tire, and I'm keeping that for myself. I only had 2 S10s. So, and I gave one person one for free because he was a long-time supporter of the channel and he was going through a rough period. I've got a piano over there, but no, most of my stuff I do is YouTube. Oh, are you saying for the person who got it? Yes, it would be. Yeah. And no, I don't personally. Well, like I say, I don't want to go into it too much because it's completely unrelated to this stream. But now and again, I will sell stuff I've bought on eBay, and generally I sell it for pretty much the same price as I paid for it. I try and be quite fair with it, rather than trying to price gouge on it. But I don't actually have a business of buying stuff to resell it on eBay. No, because there's a lot of things with eBay of people who buy stuff cheap and then resell it at higher prices. What I do is just basically, if I'm trying to make more space, which I'm constantly trying to do, I generally do the thing of like channel members and my mates get offered first priority on something at generally a reduced price. If they don't want it, it goes on eBay for a bit more on auction, and then we see what it goes for. But good morning to the person whose name I have no idea what the characters say. I'm guessing that's Hebrew, is it? But I can't actually read Hebrew. But hello. Yeah, well, this is the problem with bots, isn't it? Like we were saying, they could be very useful, but you basically don't leave them unattended to do whatever they want. Not at the moment, Lewis, thank God. The one I've had so far, I'll just double check my Gmail, but the only one I've had so far was the one that, I couldn't be streaming now, could I, if I had another one? But yeah, the only one I've had so far is the one I said, like the warning first strike, and I said, since having that one, I went back and deleted loads of videos I thought could be a little bit iffy, on any circumstances. Yeah, Fuzzy, when I put stuff on auction, what I normally do is put the starting price at roughly what I paid for it. I do the postage to be really fair. I don't charge people too much postage. Sometimes I lose £1 or 2 on postage because I underestimate what it costs to post. But yeah, what I normally do is put on auction. If you're lucky, you get a few people bidding against each other, don't you? So when I sold that old Stowhound, that was actually really good recently because, like I said, I think I got that between £30 and £40 when I got that Stowhound, and it went for I think 75 in the end. One of my eyes is still slightly droopy on one side, I'm Alfie, but not to a very big extent. Like you can see it in some pictures of me if my face is very straightforward, if that makes sense. Like my glasses are off, I'm looking forwards. But for the most part, nearly all the mumps symptoms have gone. But yes, that's why you vaccinate, against horrible diseases. Which GP5 picture do you mean? The one on the mugs and things like that? If you mean the merch stuff I sell, all of the merch stuff I sell is drawn by my friend Bart. So, the copyright for it's owned by him. I'm not saying username because then you get people on here messing with the account. Like I've said that loads of times. I am not literally giving out my eBay thing because I've already had people like doxing through eBay and stuff like that. So I'm not giving it out to even more people. And I think it's against eBay's terms of service to start linking your listings on loads of other places. If you mean that big picture, that is a reprint, I think, of the original Soviet civil defense poster because it's in good condition. If it was more aged and ripped, I think then it would be, because I think it's a company that does the thing of, they get the original posters, they scan them in really high res, clean up any colors and that, and then do really good high quality reprints of them. But yeah, if you search Soviet civil defense posters on eBay, you can find loads like that, of all sorts of different things about like cleaning wounds, like how to take cover from atomic weapons, like all sorts of things. Like that's just a one on respirators, essentially showing how to measure for a respirator and like types of civilian respirators. All right, Ron. We've just been moaning about bots for most of this stream. Yeah, I don't know about that, Mask. What country did you say that was, burner account? Did you say it was Romania or sorry, or did you say somewhere else? Problem is when you get too many comments coming in, I can't always remember what somebody said several comments up. I got my shums on eBay literally years ago, as in probably close to 10 years ago at this point. What am I now? 27. Yeah, probably like 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago. The Romanian mask I really like burner account is the M84, is it? Which is like an M65, but way better and with a drinking tube. Lots of old masks, Mr. Jaeger, smell a bit weird. Thankfully, Dominic, today, no new strikes. Weirdly, today's video, which obviously isn't monetized, is one of my most viewed videos in ages because it's like an e-drama type thing, isn't it? Which always pulls people in. But yeah. Yeah, exactly, litter picker. That's basically it. Some of the stuff in those things is quite useful. It's on about, like the density of concrete in a building to shield from gamma rays kind of thing. Some of it is useful, but also, yeah, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's game over no matter what. D&B Militaria health hazard. All right, Mike. Weirdly, mine played up last night, my acid reflux. Mine had been fine for ages, and I had a couple of bits of like last night where, when you move and then your chest goes really tight from the acid reflux. It did eventually go down fine. I don't know if it was a combination of like what I'd eaten, what I'd drunk, Sometimes as well, like my asthma can be like irritated by my acid reflux. Impossible to say drunk Russian because of like tax stuff, I wouldn't say anyway. Because, that's between me and the tax man, all properly accounted for. It's not stuff I talk about online. As I've said, Dan, quite a few times, when I restore it, I wouldn't restore it to be original because there's plenty of people who've done that. I'd restore it to make it as comfortable as possible. Well, 3M mask would be fine to use, but yeah, I think that's a sensible thing if they're doing that in the Philippines, that you need a mask and a face shield on. The more coverage on your face with a proper, like bit of plastic and filtered thing is going to give everybody, less chance of spreading it. Yeah, have you seen Litter Picker, the thing that the bloke who did Fred's did before Fred's, where he shows the bit where like the people survive the initial burning bit in their little lean-to shelter, and then it says like they should survive for 17 seconds, and then it just shows it, the houses just disintegrating through the shockwave. My favourite video game is still Oddworld Abe's Exodus. Which one did you get, Telly? Because here's the thing. If you get one that's too big a screw, it's not going to go in. And if you bought a NATO screw, Fred, for a GP5, it's not going to go in. If the seller said it would fit a GP5, then demand a refund. But okay, I'll get it up for you, Litter Picker. Let me just double check what it's called. I think it's called A Guide to Armageddon, I think is the name of it. Yeah, QED, A Guide to Armageddon. It's on YouTube. I'll just put the link in the video here and then open it up later on. There you go. There you go. There's a bit in that where they show a couple and it's like saying they would have survived in a little makeshift shelter, if they were out of the thermal range of the bomb. However, that's it. Have you installed it properly? Do you have enough requirements? I don't know. I'm not going to provide tech support for games on a live stream. NATO filters do not fit GP5s, as we've said over and over again. GOST masks take GOST filters. NATO masks take NATO filters. But the nicer thing is GOST filters generally fit into NATO masks, but not the other way around. The same thing I said the last time that was asked, and probably the Jandal Chase window, whatever it's called. In all honesty, I'm going to do what Mike does in his streams now, and I'm going to move any of the like guns and things after this stream. I'm going to probably move them where they won't be in frame, and I won't show crossbows or anything on streams now just because I'm too worried with YouTube getting more and more sort of, you know. Burner account. No, I've literally just said there's not. If it's a GOS threaded thing, it won't take a NATO filter. Yeah, Tony Chase, what you can do, try putting some rubber washers inside the bit where the screw thread is. It's not ideal, but it's better than doing nothing. If you mean ground zero of a nuclear explosion, no, you're definitely not safe. Because, you know, you're right where the bomb goes off. I can tell you're definitely a troll now, Breathe Fire, so enjoy being blocked. You're a racist as well, you know, so... there's probably an RPK barrel behind my head, so I'm obviously not moving my head for that reason. What, the very, very accurate clocks, Dominic? Yeah, but most radio clocks are set off of them, aren't they? Little Picker, I'm sorry to hear that, right? But my dad's uncle has had lots of health issues, and his kids have had loads of serious health issues, and he was a nuclear vet like that. You know, witness the explosions, you know, being stationed near them on Christmas Island. That's where the RPK barrel was. I'll put my chair there. Also depends what country you're in. Like, some countries you can find loads of Soviet surplus, others you can't, you know. Yeah, Dan, this is the really weird thing, right? With YouTube now, there's loads of things where they literally say on a live stream you can't do this, on a regular video you can, where previously it was always allowed on a live stream. And there's also weird stuff like where you can show something that's illegal in more places. Like, you know, like they've really relaxed their thing on drugs now, haven't they? Which is really weird. So there's loads of literally like stoner channels going like, oh no, man, I'm doing it for medical reasons. Like, most people know I have nothing against drugs. It's the fact that literally some stoners like smoking weed nonstop in videos are getting monetized, you know, like 200k subs, but you can't show a gun being used safely. What are you on about, Will? Are you on about YouTube memberships? The main thing is private streams. I'm sure most of the members will back me up here, but the private streams are a lot better than the public ones, because I think we've only ever had one troll get on a you know, private one, like somebody who literally wanted to pay to try and cause trouble, because, you know, most people who come on here to cause trouble don't. Completely obsolete as far as I'm aware. OK9. Yeah, Webley air rifles and air pistols are nice tire. Yeah, let it pick it. There's a similar thing with the Soviets, right? So the Soviets, I don't know if I've got my DKP decimeter pen near me. Oh, I know where it is. Hang on, you have to see the RPK, but you can never show these very well on streams, but let me just demonstrate it with the DKP50. So, let's see what reading this is on. Right, it's on about 8 Röntgen. So, this is a Soviet DKP50 decimeter pen, and the Soviets had some other models like this. I'll have to turn this light on and see if I can angle it right. There you go. So, you can probably see this one is about 8 Röntgen. Maybe. It's quite hard to show these because it's either too bright or... There you go, you can see it's on about 8 Röntgen. Okay, so at Chernobyl and lots of things like that and the Soviet atomic tests, yes, the servicemen were given dosimeters, right? Let's get that light off again. But the dosimeters that they were given generally didn't go to the point at which you'd get radiation poisoning, like radiation damage permanently. So what the Soviets would do as well is they'd not give troops ones where they could actually check if they'd had a lethal dose. And apparently what they do at Chernobyl, if they were given the dosimeters where you couldn't check the dose yourself, but, a person with a dosimeter reader could check it, and they said, liquidators can't be exposed to more than 100 Rontgen, they would see somebody had been exposed to 200 Rontgen or whatever, they would mark their thing in their logbook as being exposed to 96 Rontgen and then tell them, you're fine. The pewter gas mask I've got, which is awful, which we've gone over and over again. 177 is a very common caliber. We're on about air guns, health hazard. 177 and 22 are the most, or 22 are the most popular air gun calibers, full stop. 177 is actually cheaper than 22 because of the fact that the pellets weigh less. I've still got my Fushida, but I won't be selling it. I did find that not long ago. I've put it, I think that's the one I've actually put down there now, but I'm not going to get up and go get it to show you again. But yeah, so I'd assume litter picker, it was the same thing with Britain. They either didn't issue them badges and said they didn't, it was fine. Or if their dosimeter reading showed they'd been exposed to too much, they just wrote it down as lower and said no, they were fine. What do you mean, Tanner? I don't get what you mean by that comment. What country are you in, Health Hazard? Here, go on eBay. Loads of calibers. Go on any of the sites that sell air guns. Loads of 177 pellets. But if you're in the UK, things like JCB Sports and all those aren't going to be selling air rifle pellets. It's just something they don't do. You either get them from a gun shop or you buy them online. No, but you could get an Avon C50 blade task force, and Avon C50s do take 40mm filters. Well, that is both, isn't it, inductive tea cake? Especially on earlier atomic tests, though, where the neutrons went further than the actual explosion radius. But yeah, it will be both contamination due to inhaling and ingesting of fallout, and it would probably be, the damage caused by, watching the bombs go off. Yeah, I find that strange to believe, Flazzy. I mean, I know, obviously, in the US, airgun stuff isn't as popular as the UK and some other places. Although I know it's still popular in the US because there's a load of Americans I talk to. And despite the fact they have lots of guns, they're like, 22 long rifle is one of the cheapest, actual firearms to shoot in the US. But I also have a 22 air rifle because that's even cheaper, to buy ammo in bulk. Yeah, that really doesn't surprise me because, yeah, if you watch the US Bikini Baker test, or is it Able Baker test, whichever one they called it, I think it's Bikini Baker, the one where they basically did an underwater atomic explosion to see how much it damaged ships. They had, the fish and the water were horrifically contaminated for ages. So literally any of the local islanders, if they were catching the fish, they would be ingesting literally all of the fishing products. I mean, you can't really help stupid, I'm afraid. If there are people that literally keep saying COVID is fake, the vaccines are out to get people, I don't think they can really be helped. Well, here's the thing. I'm very reluctant to do anything regarding it now, Chrono, because of the fact I got a strike for, stuff that I can perfectly legally have and that. Operation Crossroads Baker. Yes, thank you, Mini Noble. That's the exact one I'm thinking of. But yes, in the... Are you on about the bayonet or the actual Enfield itself? The Enfield itself, I assume, is a British one, but I haven't looked in ages. FFP dust masks are not as good as FFP3 dust masks, but they're a hell of a lot better than surgical masks. Depends what you're using it for as well. Both the M50 and M95 are good, but the M95, actually just takes regular filters, so, Yeah, they've all gone up, haven't they, Rich? But yeah, they've all gone up, but they're still easy enough to get, at least over here. Whereabouts are you in the UK, burner account, or do you mean just in general? In England, we don't need a license for air rifles. In Scotland, you do. I don't know about Wales. I don't know about Northern Ireland or whatever, but I don't know if it was the SNP who did it or what, or Scottish Labour or whoever it was at the time. But in Scotland, they made it so you do need like a license you have to pay for air guns. There's been talk of it happening in the UK before, and it's never happened, or at least England, I mean. But whether or not it happens in England, I don't know. If it happened here, I'd probably just have to go for the license, just for the sake of, not getting rid of a load of air guns. Three strikes plus the warning strike. But again, look up YouTube's policy on it if you want to see, because they change it all the time. Yeah, Max, where was that one then? But yeah, but again, 200k, you'd never get a 49-room house, would you, for 200k? They had a big World War II one that was extended in the Cold War sale recently, I think for like between 400 and 500,000 pounds. And again, way cheaper than a house for how much space you got in it. The ROC post in Cornwall did go for 50k in the end, but again, I don't know how much land was sold of it in the end. That might be, I assume, Lim, because if you're wearing a mask and washing your hands more and socially distancing, it's going to be harder to spread colds and flu, isn't it? Yeah, I think they might have been saying, Max, something like that over here in England, that it might be like, there's more checks done on it now. Like, with like checking your address against the database and all that, as opposed to just letting somebody, say, yeah, I'm 18 and buying it. It really depends, Dan, because often the person who owns the ROC post on the land they've got sell it with the field it's with. So most of the ones that have gone recently have sold with a surprisingly large amount of land. But it's hard to know if the person who bought it bothered buying the land with it or not. But yeah, it really depends on the post, and then that normally factors into the price. But that's all right, yeah. It's just for anybody when we were on about the awful little shelters that wouldn't really survive a nuclear attack. It's 1939 dated, so it's basically right at the start of World War II, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it's a number 1 Mark III, isn't it, that one? It's the one that the number 4 Mark 1's replaced in big numbers, but I always find Lee Enfield numbers really weird. Lots of countries did the thing of like, they'd have one thing and then they'd have like the A1 or the A2 or whatever afterwards, like the US would do. And not the British stuff, we had like Mark 1, Mark 2 or something. Lee Enfields have the numbers and marks all over the place. There's not really much rhyme and reason to it. I suppose it's because lots of versions just had prototype versions and they were never mass produced, but they still kept those in like the numbers of like, World War II is a lot more interesting in terms of what happened. World War I didn't really have a bad guy as such. World War I's interesting if you want to see like the decline of the European empires. That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, World War II is the one that was, far more probably important in terms of like world politics and everything. Well, if it's conscription, you're getting in no matter what, aren't you? If you're asking me, if your country conscripts you, you don't have an option to say, can I not be in the army? Unless you mean like going into specific bits during conscription, I have no idea. I think it depends burner account on which model they are. I've had good and bad military boots before, but some are very good and hard wearing. All right, how fast? But yeah, as long as it didn't get stolen or whatever off of you, if you sold it, didn't you? But M1 carbines are really nice. I've got a Diak M1 up there, and of course I can't show it you because I'm on a live stream. Because, Dan, you'd first have to buy the land. And here's the thing. Often buying the land on its own is more expensive than buying one with an ROC post on that most people don't have anything they can do with it. Again, sorry, Dan, I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick to you, right? But the problem is it's like every other stream at the moment. It's the exact same conversation where somebody else goes like, oh, are you building your own bunker or, like buying one that exists? And then you have to explain what an ROC post is to somebody. And then they'll start saying that, but why not build your own? And then it's also people who don't know like how much land is in the UK. So I don't want to sound like I'm having to go at you. It's just it's getting really tiresome now of like the sort of it's almost like a checklist of things. For burn account, the Royal Observer Corps, it was a thing in World War II that spotted planes for the RAF. And in the Cold War, they had lots and lots of little nuclear bunkers for monitoring like fallout, bomb dispersal type stuff and all that. It's all right, Dan. It's just every other stream, right? If the bunker stuff comes up, it's literally like a checklist where everybody always makes the same points. Yeah, there's lots of good Dr. John Campbell videos on it, isn't there, Litter Picker? Yeah, Finns definitely have to do national service, Lazzy. Most of the Finns who come on, like Visa, who comes on, all did their army service. But anyway, what was I saying about before the ROC post stuff? Okay, Max. Yeah, I didn't see that one being sold, but yeah. So they built it. What was that? I can't see how many noughts there are there, but was that 30 million or something? I'd assume 30 or 300 million. I doubt you'd get a bunker for 3 million when you're originally building them. Went for 200k. But yeah, there's loads, aren't there, that go for like absurdly low money for what they actually are. Yeah, I thought there was something I was going to reply to, and then I got distracted. Well, the FM12 is a good mask. The ARFA, you have to be lucky to get a good one because most are in awful condition. As I've said before, the Polish MP5 is superior in every way. If you've not seen a video, Luma Control, there's literally one where I do a side-by-side comparison of the ARFA and the MP5. Right. The person who's made a few weird comments and has just asked the same bunker question again is now gone. I'm going to finish the stream, so I'm just getting rid of a couple of people that I think are spamming questions on purpose. If they're not, then sorry, but like I said, you get too many people come on here trying to cause problems. Over a decade ago now, David. Like I was saying, when I was 18 and I had my first proper job, that was when it starts becoming, like you can spend a lot more on it. But even before then, I'd spend like pocket money over the course of several months on things. See, this guy knows what's up. Yep, you're right. And other things as well. I'm like exempt for several reasons, but yeah. That guy there knows the score. D&B Militaria, as I said in the video, and I've said on like every single time somebody asks me about the guns. Right, if you can physically check them, Luma Control, and they're like not too expensive, and you can physically check they're not in bad condition, an ARFA is fine. Oh, thanks, Thomas, and thanks, Lewis. I really appreciate that, especially what happened the other day with the strike and all that. So I'm glad. Thank you all for that. I really do appreciate it because obviously at the moment we're on like Jan and February, YouTube ad rates, which is really low, like compared to December. But thank you for that as well. But yeah, on about the vitamin stuff, Dr. John Campbell's done some very good stuff on that. But as well as I can be, Lewis, like obviously I want to be going out and doing more stuff, but due to lockdown, I can't. It's going to be probably May at the earliest before I can go back to work. Other than a job I might be getting hired to do soon, but I don't want to talk too much about that on here. But that's a case of it's probably May at the earliest before I can go back to the job I was doing, and then it might be that I've not got a job to go back to by then. It depends how much money companies are hemorrhaging, you know. Mini Noble, I think that's only going to happen if there's enough good competition, because then they can't get away with just doing what they want. But here's the thing, it really surprises me Amazon or like Tesla, you know, any of the big things that aren't Google don't do their own YouTube type platform, because surely they'd have the money to throw behind it and they'd make a lot from it. All right, I'm glad you find the videos. I'll definitely keep doing videos. It's just at the moment I'm going to be very cautious on do stuff that's not at all controversial, just because I'm really kind of thinking, this YouTube thing, you know. Could you have a house with a bunker in the basement, Max? Does that count? I mean, bunkers are interesting, but again, it depends, because if you had the land, it'd be nice to have like a varied house, wouldn't it? But won't go into that burner account. As I've said before, it's just because you get too many weird people and they're asking you too many personal questions. All perfectly legal, you know, normal, decent jobs. It's just that you get people trying to work out where you live and everything else. Thank you, Connor. Yeah. What's going on with the US dollar at the moment? That there was something apparently Biden was saying today, as much as I don't want to bring up politics, about the US is running out of a lot of resources that they want for certain industries. So they're now actually having to go on like a mad scramble to get them. Like it'd be the same for Britain and everything else, but apparently it took them this long to realize, you know, that you should actually secure, you know, natural resources for your industry. But yeah, thank you, Connor, and thank you everybody else. But yeah. Right, the person who spammed a load of other stupid shit, I'm just getting rid of. You know, the person's like, oh, I cut myself, or I did something, or I did something. Yeah, you're obviously a little kid wanting attention. Which one? Which Fallout sign? There's obviously the big gas mask sign there. There's a Fallout sign there, but I've actually got a proper metal one of that one. That's just a poster. But the metal one slid behind there, and I'd have to pull everything out to get it, and I'm not doing that until I sell a load of that stuff. But yeah, there was a thing that wasn't there the other day where like a lot of the cryptos crashed pretty quickly, but then they already like bounced back massively, because obviously people went, oh, they've dropped massively. Now's a good time to buy into them at a reduced rate, and they've already gone up again. So what is that, like US dollars over the course of US history? 40% were in the last year. That's insane, isn't it? Well, like I said, I've got literally a CT12 behind me ready to go with the filter, so it'd be that. But if I'm in my car, I've got other masks ready to go with the filters. Not really much radio equipment, burner account. Like I've got lots of old military dosimeter type things that often use the same kind of like, you know, valves and everything and circuit boards at the times, you know, have very similar appearance to a lot of the radio gear. But no, I've never really been interested in radios that much, especially because of the fact that, you know, sadly with a lot of the, what's it like, radio stuff over here, there's lots of bands you can't transmit on yourself without a license or whatever. Or there's lots of, you know, forbidden bands. So you probably couldn't do much with it. I know with the Geiger you can't do much with it, but you know, I've got a shortwave that's all right. It's not a military one, but you know, the shortwave's fun because you can sometimes pick up, you know, stuff you can't understand in another language from somewhere far away in the world, and it's sort of interesting to listen to for a bit. That's the thing I like about shortwave. But you know, I wouldn't have much interest in a lot of type of radios because just to me you can't do much with them. What budgie loves what voice, Stickman? Well, we've been over Myra lots of times. Myra don't make their own products. They just have a license to rebrand and upsell other people's products. So anything that Myra makes, look up the actual thing it is and buy it cheaper from the manufacturer directly or another shop. All right, Welsh lads, you always come on at the end, don't you? Is it because you get home at this sort of time? But you always seem to come on like at 9 p.m. when I started at 8 p.m. Depends what country you're in, Drunk Russian. If you're in the UK, go to a place that can legally sell you deactivated firearms and buy one. Oh. Well, so your budgie really loves my voice. A lot of the time, if you've got budgies and parrots and things, if you just have the radio on or the television on or other people are talking, the birds like that because it's not silent. What you can do for your budgie that will really cheer it up, if it's, being a bit antisocial or whatever, put recordings of birds on or videos of birds on the TV. And that will really cheer them up and get them talking more because it's like a better soundscape for them. So it's a bit like, if we were listening to the radio, because we've not got anything to do, for a budgie in a cage or whatever, that's like having somebody to talk to. Nearly all my masks came from eBay. What do you mean, why is there a paint behind me? What are you looking at? There's no paint behind me. As far as I'm aware, there's no cans of paint behind me. No, I can't see any paint behind me. Yeah, I think it's just lots of animals in general, Mike, because I know people with dogs say, if they have to go out the house for a bit, and they have to leave their dogs alone, they found their dogs are a lot calmer if they just put the radio on. Because apparently, like with the dogs, it's also a thing like, they don't hear a random noise when it's quiet for a while, and then they don't, jump to attention because there's more of a natural soundscape. So it would only be if there was a really loud sort of noise that the dogs would then get, on edge because of it. Well, is the Polish... I don't see how that's a joke. Is the Polish good for £35? If it's an actual Polish MP5 and not a French ARFA in like terrible condition, then yes. Oh yeah, exactly. There's lots of things like that, isn't there? If you happen to have something... Oh, I just noticed that number's gone out. There we go. It's easy to fix Nixie tubes. You just whack them. So the best place to get deactivated guns that I've found over here, Drunk Russian, is D&B Militaria. So search D&B, as in, and as in AND, D&B Militaria, and they do deactivated guns, replicas that you can own without like getting an airsoft type licensee thing, obsolete calibers. No, I don't have any CF4s, I'm afraid, burner account. I've just got the one that came with my M85, so I don't have an M74 either. All right, Rich, I'm literally going to go off any minute now just because of the fact I've gone over time and I wasn't even planning to do a full hour today. But thank you to everybody that donated. I appreciate that. And we've already just got somebody literally made... Anybody that makes any pro-terrorist kind of shit on here is just getting an instant block. So, yeah, bye. Didn't last long, did it? And it'd be the same for people who are terrorists on any side, I don't care whose side they're on, no. This was literally asked earlier. It's 1939. So, it's basically before World War II, but post World War I. So, yeah, 1939, the year World War II started. I have to buy some new ones, Welsh lad. The old ones haven't turned up yet, but I bet within a week they will do. But I literally bought the WAL ones that happened to be on offer the day I looked. They're just plug-in basic hair clippers. So I didn't have the guard on, just did that. Even on the mains, they struggled at points of how thick my hair had got, but eventually I did get it all off. At least with these, I didn't have to keep going over bits over and over again. It seemed once they took a bit off, they took it off properly. Whereas some of my other clippers, especially the battery ones, sometimes like chug a bit on a certain place and you have to keep going over it and over it and over it. But anyway, I'm off, everybody, but thank you, everybody that donated. I appreciate it. There'll be a video on Friday. But like I said, at the moment, some of the videos might end up being a bit strange in the sense that I'm going to be doing content I've just deleted just in case YouTube finds some reason to make a strike against it, and then just making it as like neutral as possible in terms of like, you know, this is a historical video reflecting a piece of historical equipment. All right. See ya. Bye.